Thank you for joining us for Vault's Intermediate webinar. In our basic webinar, we covered how you'll use Vault to manage your chapter's finances, the interface layout, and important areas of Vault that you should become familiar with. If you haven't already viewed the basic webinar, you can view it at the link in the description of this video. In our intermediate webinar, we'll take a look at how to manage Vault user access, update your member roster, set up billing, manage your chapter's bill pay, and more. First, let's take a look at how to add, modify, and remove Vault access. The gear icon is for administration. Click here to manage user permissions. To add a new user, you'll click the Add User button and select a member from the drop-down. Remember that you can only add someone to Vault if they are currently a member on your roster or an advisor who's listed as a chapter contact. Once you've selected the user, you'll update their user permissions to no access, view-only access, or manage access for each section of Vault. As you update each section, the permission details below will populate to let you know what access you're giving to each section for this user. Click Submit to lock in your changes. If you need to edit a user's permissions, you can do so by clicking on the pencil icon here, or you can delete a user by clicking on the trash can icon here. Now that we've discussed how to keep your Vault user list up to date, let's take a look at keeping your chapter roster up to date as well. You can access your chapter roster under the Chapter tab. You'll see active members, which are any members with a member status of initiate or new member, and other records, including those who have graduated, disassociated, or other member statuses, will be down here below in the Other Records section. There are a couple of ways that you can add members to your roster. You can use the Add Member button here to add one at a time, or we can go here to Add New Members. From this screen, you have the option to either add a member one at a time or add members en masse. To add a single member, you'll simply fill out the basic information in this form, including their name, their email address, their member status, a status reason if necessary, and their billing group. Once you've completed the form, click Save and Continue to add them to your roster. To add a large amount of new members, you'll click Add Members en masse. From here, we'll download an Excel file template, fill out that template, and you can upload it here. Once you click Upload, it will convert the Excel spreadsheet and take you to the Mass Member Edit screen. From this screen, you'll be able to review your data, make sure everything's entered correctly, make any changes that need to be made before you submit. Once you've added new members, they're going to show up here on this screen under Members Added in the last 7 days. This is to help make sure that you don't add duplicate accounts. If you don't see the option to add members through Vault available to you, you'll need to add all of your new members via your national database portal. To maintain your chapter roster, you'll also need to keep your member status records up to date. Member status refers to the member standing with the chapter, such as new member, initiate, or alumni. To update member statuses, we'll go under Chapter, select Update Member Statuses, and from this screen, we're going to be able to filter by the status that we need to update. So in this case, for instance, you might want to update all of your new members to initiate after the initiation occurs. You'll simply select the members to who this change applies, add either a date of graduation or an initiation date as necessary, and select Update Member Statuses to lock in those changes. If you don't see this option available to you, once again, you're going to need to update member statuses via your national database portal. It's also important to keep a close eye on your member's billing status. Billing status tells Vault System whether or not a member should receive scheduled charges. This is going to feel very familiar because once again, we're going to filter by the status that we want to update In this case, we're going to be updating members who are currently listed with an active billing status, change them over to inactive. We're going to do that because we are moving recently graduated members to inactive billing. We'll select the members to whom this change applies and click Update Billing Statuses to lock in those changes. Now we've ensured that those members are removed from the active roster and they're not going to be billed any future charges. Additionally, under the Billing tab, you can select Review Roster and Billing Discrepancies. This page will provide you a report showing any discrepancies between the billing and member statuses. For instance, you may have somebody who's got an active billing status, but their member status is either an alumnus or disassociated. And we definitely want to make sure that we take a look at that and update that as necessary. Here's a great example of why this. In this case, you're going to notice an exclamation point icon next to the name. This indicates that the user in question has vault access, and so we can't update their billing status until we revoke their vault access. Down here, you're going to see member statuses that need to be updated. These are people who have an inactive billing status, but a member status that indicates that normally they would be receiving charges. So in this case, we're going to filter by initiate. We're going to change their member status. In this case, it's going to be alumnus. Select all the members to whom this applies and click Update Member Status. Once your member roster is up to date, we can establish your scheduled charges. To do this, we're going to go to the Billing tab and select Billing Overview. The Billing Overview screen is going to show you the current cycle that you're on. If you want to set up billing, we'll click Set Up Billing here. Select a term that you'd like to set up. We're going to choose Fall 2022. We're going to select the first due date and then the late after date that we want charges to assess. We're going to charge late fees. If you are charging late fees, that information is going to be down here at the bottom. Down here, you can select your cycle dates and the late fees that you want assessed. These are totally customizable, so you can choose to only charge late fees on the first cycle, or you can choose not to do it on the first and to do it on all of the rest, whatever works best for your chapter. Next, we're going to update our charges. If you've previously billed with us, you're going to copy charges from a previous term. Typically, if we're going to be billing for fall, we're going to copy over charges either from the past spring or the last fall, whichever works best for your chapter. Once we've selected charges to start from, we can go in and make edits. You can look up here to see what billing groups we have in play. If you need to add a new billing group, you'll do so here. You can edit the name and charges of each billing group. To edit charges, we'll click here. This is going to show you previously scheduled charges, the last couple of rounds of billing. You can copy charges from other terms or from other billing groups. To add charges, we're going to select the plus button down here. We'll enter a description. For instance, if you want to charge your chapter dues, we'll select an income account. And oftentimes this will be chapter dues and fees. If we're going to charge everything up front, we'll put it all on the first cycle, like this. If you wanted to charge your members in installments, you'd simply add at the description a fraction of how you're going to be charging your chapters and break them down per installments. To add a new charge, we're going to go down here. Again, you'll just add a description. You'll select it from the drop-down income account menu, and you'll add it to the cycles that you choose. Once you're satisfied with the way that you've set up your billing for that group, we'll click Save, and you can move on to the next. Once you've set up billing for each group and you're ready to move forward, scroll down and click Next. And here you're going to have the opportunity to review and approve. We're going to see all of your late fee options up here, your scheduled charges here, and any charges that we've scheduled for the semester down here. To move forward, we'll click Save and Complete, and that will lock in your billing for fall 2022. As you're setting up your charges, it is best practices to itemize your charges instead of charging a single lump sum of dues. So if your national organization partners with the Mega Phi and you pay national dues through Vault, it's particularly important that you at least itemize out your national dues and fees. We'll look at why that matters later in the webinar. Sometimes you will need to assess charges to your members outside of these scheduled charges. So next we'll look at how to add transactions to a member's account. Let's say you need to assess charges for an optional t-shirt to some of your members. You're going to go to the Billing tab and select Add Transactions en masse. Up here at the top, we can apply default values for the type, description, income account, and amount for these charges. Our type is going to be charge. In this case, our description is going to be formal t-shirt. The income account we're going to use is going to be chapter operations and activities. And the amount for the t-shirt is going to be $25 each. Next, you'll select the members from the drop-down. And once you've selected all the members that apply, you'll click the button that says Create Transactions here at the bottom. Once you've added those transactions, they're going to show here in the pending transactions screen until they post overnight. Now let's look at how to assess charges to an entire billing group. You're going to go to the Billing tab and select Add Transaction to a Group. In this case, let's assume that you've added some new members on cycle 3 after all of your scheduled charges have already been assessed, and you need to add in the dues for these new members. Here we're going to select the billing group, and it's going to filter our list for us. We only want to apply this to members who have an active billing status. I'm going to select all and go to Next Step to enter those transactions. Next, we're going to select the type of transaction. In this case, that's going to be a charge. I'm going to enter a description. In this case, new member fees. We're going to select an income account. In this case, it's going to be national dues and fees, and then the amount. Once we've entered all of the relevant information, we'll click Next Steps. And we'll have a chance to take a look and double check what these transactions look like, make any adjustments that we might need to make, and click Create Transactions to add those transactions to these accounts. These transactions will post overnight, and your members will be able to view the charges on their account the next day. The last section we'll cover today is bill pay. If your chapter uses bill pay accounts, you will want to make sure that you keep your bill pay access up to date. So let's first look at how to add, edit, or remove bill pay access for your officers. Go to the Bill Pay tab and select User Access. This page lists bill pay users, bill pay global permissions, and user permissions for the specific bill pay users. To add a new user, click on the plus sign here. And select user to grant bill pay access to from the drop-down menu, as well as their access level, including no access, view-only access, or manage. Click Submit to add them to the roster of bill pay users. If you need to further edit a user's access, you'll just find the user you need to update, click on their profile. To manage their global permissions, you'll select the pencil icon here. You can either remove all permissions, grant all permissions, or change permissions by section. And you can edit the fund account permissions as well. To edit the permissions for a fund, click on the fund you'd like to edit. You can either grant all permissions, remove all permissions, or you can select different permission levels for each section of bill pay. This allows you to grant a member view-only access to some funds and manage access to others so that they only have access to the funds that they need. If you need to delete a user, you'll simply come back up to the bill pay user section and select the trash can icon next to their name to remove their bill pay access. If you go to bill pay and go to registers, you can see a current list of your active bill pay funds. Your bill pay funds can be funded through something called deposit splits. What a deposit split does is when a payment comes through, the system recognizes which income accounts those payments can be applied to. And if we have a deposit split set up for that income account, it will funnel the money into one of your bill pay funds. A really common deposit split, particularly for our clients who have national partnerships, are national dues deposit splits. It's always important to collect any payments for your Chapter 3 vault, but it's particularly important when you have active deposit splits. Collecting dues locally can lead to underfunding your bill pay accounts because when you enter a payment record for locally collected dues, that money never passes through a Mega-Fi, so there's no way for those funds to be added to your bill pay account. When a member later makes a payment on a Mega-Fi, this can lead to that payment being incorrectly funneled into another account. Many of the national dues accounts are locked down to local chapters, meaning that while you can transfer money into an account to make a payment, you can't transfer money out of that account. So to ensure that your money is correctly split, please make sure that all payments are made through a Mega-Fi. Next, let's look at how to pay your bills through your bill pay funds. Go to Bill Pay and select Payments. To input a new bill, you'll click Add, select Bill. You'll select a vendor name, the bill amount, the due date, the invoice date, and an invoice number. Then you'll select the expense account. In this case, it'll be rent. If you have a bill that needs to be split between different expense accounts, you could do that down here. Make any notes related to that bill, and you can upload the image of the bill as well. Next, you'll select the payment type. You'll want to pick the bill pay fund. In this case, we're going to be paying out of our rent account. You'll select the pay on date, a memo if necessary, and select authorize payment. Once you authorize the payment, you'll click submit to save the bill. And now you'll see that bill in the outstanding bills section. If you have an operating account set up, you may wish to use an officer purchasing card, which is a prepaid card that allows you to use your operating bill pay fund just like a bank account. To request the card, go to the bill pay tab once again and select officer purchasing cards. From here, you'll select add card and choose either for yourself or for others. You'll enter your name, your address, your email address, date of birth, social security number, and a physical address, as well as the shipping address if that's different. Then you'll select send me a card, and you'll receive an invitation for enrollment as a new card holder. To use your officer purchasing card or to move money between bill pay accounts and external accounts, we'll go to the transfers page. Click add to create a new transfer, and you'll create either a one-time or a scheduled transfer. You'll choose the amount you'd like to transfer, pick the account you'd like to transfer out of, and the account that you'd like to transfer to. And you'll put any notes necessary down here and click Submit to make that transfer. If you're making a transfer from a bill pay account to an external bank account, or vice versa, we'll use either an ACH or a wire transfer. An ACH transfer takes a few days to process, but is free, and a wire transfer is a same-day process, but it does cost $75 per transfer. And that wraps up the intermediate webinar for the day. For more information on how Vault can assist you in managing your chapter's finances, please see our advanced webinar with the link in the description of this video. Thanks so much for joining us.